All right, boys. Bitcoin closing at right at the 2-day Kijun line here. Our 2-day here is giving us a cross up, which is good. Our weekly here is looking like we might also confirm a cross up as well. So we closed right around 114.4K on the index here. Yeah, not a bad close. We didn't quite take out our engulfing candle, but we did close back above the bull market support band. Those are good things to see. We do still have our 2-day counter trend long that's in. All right. That is still active. And most of the time when we do get these 2-day counter trend longs, those present nice buying opportunities. And we are still in an uptrend, like I had said before. Once we start taking out 100K, things start to get a little dicey for Bitcoin. 4-year cyclers think the top is in, and that's fine. I think as long as this monthly doesn't cross down on our momentum waves here, I mean, it's very clear that we are losing monthly momentum. It is very clear that that's happening. Okay. All right. This is still coming down, right? And so that's kind of why it's Bitcoin's having a tough time staying above these levels. It's doing it right now, which is great. Our monthly hasn't flipped short or anything like that right now. Our weekly also hasn't flipped short or anything like that either. So let's see if we get continuation here, at least for a retest of the all-time high, to confirm that this was indeed the top. We don't really know right now. The other thing that's keeping me really actually bullish this market is Ethereum, right? I've been talking about the same thing for a while. Is the ETH Bitcoin ratio chart is what's really keeping me kind of grounded in this market. Right? This is still really too cheap. ETH Bitcoin ratio is still too cheap relative to Bitcoin. And it's really the quarterly time frame that has me kind of glued to what's happening. This doesn't say sell. This actually says buy. Okay? This right here says rotate Bitcoin for Ethereum. Here it says rotate Bitcoin or rotate ETH for Bitcoin. Here it's the inverse on the quarterly time frame. Okay. The high time frame is still suggesting that. All right. Now this can take months, right, to play out. It doesn't have to happen right away. And yes, this is just a ratio chart. But if Bitcoin's going to come down and ETH is going to stay outpacing Bitcoin, then that shouldn't translate to US dollar values dropping. Okay, so it should mean that ETH just outperforms Bitcoin against dollars, is what it should typically mean. Because yes, ratio charts can work both directions, right? Bitcoin comes down, ETH stays flat or goes up. That means this ratio goes up. But to me, on the quarterly time frame, which is one of the highest time frames you could really look at, or probably the highest time frame you can really look at on the ratio, is this is the rotation that should be occurring right now, right? Bitcoin should be being rotated into ETH based off that. I'm sure lots of other ratio charts look similar. Like if maybe we looked at like Link or something, or maybe the XRP chart. I haven't even looked at XRP versus Bitcoin, but I'm sure it says similar things. Well, actually, no. So this is actually telling you a different story. Okay, XRP BTC is giving you a cross down. This is actually telling you to rotate XRP back to Bitcoin on the quarterly chart and the weekly chart. So arguably, XRP is probably a sale for ETH. Let's take a look at that chart. Yeah. So well, it was a sale for ETH back here in April. You could argue right now it's bouncing here versus ETH. Okay. Anyways, we'll see how this pans out. The quarterly time frame on the ETH Bitcoin ratio chart looks pretty interesting to me still. But yeah, we really do want to continue to pay attention to this weekly here on Tether. The weekly hasn't flipped long or hasn't given us a long signal just yet. We are still within the bounds of this structure. And we did get a bit of rejection here going into the close here, so that's good. All right. We did tag outside of our Bollinger Bands here. So we could see some movement down on Tether, which should bode well for crypto assets going back up. And we are also getting a weekly cross down here on Tether. All right. So we have an oscillation coming down on Tether on the weekly chart. Our 2-week is still kind of scary, still points up. Our 3-week also probably still points up, and our monthly still points up. So, okay, it's definitely, we do have some high time frame bias here to the upside on Tether. All right, but I think the shorter term here, the next couple weeks, basically as soon as this resolves, I don't know how far down Tether is going to go, but if Tether can end up taking out these range lows, we could really get a major alt season or a major alt run. Until we confirm that's not happening and Bitcoin starts really breaking its structure and, this ETH fractal doesn't play out. Do you guys recall the ETH fractal that we kind of discussed last stream? I think we went over it. We'll go over it here again, but here it is. It is almost identical. In fact, I would say it is identical to what Bitcoin did last cycle. Okay, right here. This was the COVID capitulation low. This was the April capitulation low for ETH. It's basically the same chart. Big run up, bottom, test, a retest, a failure, and then a breakout. So we're in the breakout mode right now is where we're at on this fractal. Okay. It looks eerily similar to what Bitcoin ended up doing. And this run went on as soon as it actually broke out and actually broke the top of the range. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 monthly candles. All right. Now, I'm not saying it has to be 5 months, but it very well could be. It very well could be. I'm not sure how that's going to play out with the gaps. We'll see. Also, Bitcoin isn't really extremely overbought like it's been in the past. It hasn't really seen a parabolic or euphoric rally this cycle. Could be setting up to do that. Okay. Could be setting up to do that. All right. That weekly is what we're really paying attention to here. We have the start of what looks to be weekly bullish divergence coming in on the stochastic RSI right now. Okay. That is happening, or it looks like it's happening. All right, that's I would say one of the biggest things here that could actually shift this momentum, okay, is the weekly time frame. Cool. So now that we've covered that and all the 4-year cyclers are out and fear and greed's back to neutral, okay. The other really crazy coin, man, I mean, I don't own it, but it's virtuals. Did you guys see what the hell this thing was doing here on the monthly time frame? Do you guys see this? Look at this. Look at this long wick. Look at this hammer candle it's putting in right now. This is breaking out. That's insane. That's an insane candle. And no, it's not just a bounce candle. That's some extremely bullish action. Okay. Back over the weekly bull market support band. Guys, this is not bear market stuff right here. This chart right here does not exude bear market behavior. This exudes risk on behavior. And that is all I need to say. And this weekly just crossed up on this asset. Insane. Your short-term bubble risk is nowhere near bubble risk. Nowhere near it. This has a lot of upside to come, is what this chart says. Okay. So I'm not really sold on the fact that the top is in on Bitcoin, despite all the 4-year cycle stuff and all that shenanigans right now. I don't think so. Not yet. Don't think so. Bitcoin dominance is still extremely too high, in my opinion. It looks like it's actually maybe starting to break down out of this rising wedge. We had this back test on the liquidation event here. Yeah, we're below the bull market support band on the daily time frame here for the Bitcoin dominance. The weekly is also below the bull market support band. So this is, in my opinion, this could be the start of an all run. Yeah, I actually agree, Toe. But I think it actually more relates to liquidity cycles and how the Fed actually just took out 5-year notes in 2021 instead of 4-year notes. So that's what's going on here, in my opinion. So the 4-year cycle thing isn't really a real thing. It's actually just really related to the Fed taking out 4-year notes. And it just so happened to happen every 4 years, which is why we had 4-year cycles. So anyway, we'll see how this pans out. But yeah, I mean, just look at the quarterly chart on Bitcoin dominance. You know, this is starting to roll over. It hasn't done so just yet. The monthly actually looks like it might have reset a bit. Okay, so we might actually see Bitcoin dominance tick up here for maybe a couple weeks potentially. Maybe come up to tag this again, this region, the 60% region. Like if Bitcoin goes to make new all-time high, this is probably going to go back up a bit before it comes down. We'll see. Okay. But yeah, I mean, this monthly candle just looks like rejection right now. If we start to get further downside moves on Bitcoin dominance here, you could clearly see this is almost like a head and shoulders type of formation here, and this would be your neckline here. So really you want to break 57% on a high time frame for a real alt season to kick in, to kick off. Okay. So keep paying attention to Ethereum. I think that's the kicker here is ETH, right? And we'll look at total 3 excluding stables. Another huge long wick here on the monthly chart. Still in the structure. Okay. We got some bids flying in right now. Yeah, I'd say that looks pretty good. You got that weekly resetting. That looks really good on total 3 here, excluding stables. That's about to cross back up. Okay. Big momentum shift here on the weekly time frame. That looks pretty good. Structure's intact. Okay. If we started making closures outside $615 billion, I'd be singing a different tune to you guys right now. But to me, this to me still looks technically okay. It's still within the means of the structure. Okay. Yeah. Solana. We'll take a look at Solana, right? One of the biggest L1s that performed this cycle. And we're going to look at the quarterly chart, okay? Because we're going to, I mean, if you really look at this, okay, the high time frame here, it just looks like a massive consolidation for over a year with higher lows being put in. Low, higher low, higher low. Okay? And quarterly stochastics are ticked up. Solana looks like in the coming months is set up for price discovery. BNB is quite an asset. There's no doubt about BNB here. Yeah, BNB. Yeah, what a beautiful structure on BNB. Listen, if BNB was bearish, guys, there would probably be no alt season. Okay, let's be real about it. If this chart looked like crap, no alt run. Straight up. BNB is the leader for the alts, aside from ETH. Okay. They run all the volume, they run all the market making stuff. Everything happens on BNB, man. Coinbase just added BNB to Coinbase. Did you guys remember? Did you guys hear about that? They just added the token to Coinbase. That's a statement. That's a statement. Coinbase adding a competitor to their own exchange. It's a pretty big deal. Pretty big deal. Pretty big deal. I wouldn't say that that's a bearish thing. How is that a bearish thing? Okay. Yeah, we'll look at some other stuff. Avalanche. Sure. Still within the bounds of the structure with that wick, man. Wow. Guys, you understand a wick like this is buying pressure. This is buying pressure, not selling pressure. This is buying pressure. Buying pressure. Not selling pressure. Buying pressure. That is where the liquidity is, yeah. Oh. Did I mention the weekly hammer candle here on Avalanche here this week? That looks pretty good, man. It looks like you're probably going to be rounding out down here and trying to resolve this structure that you've been in since November of 2021. That's going to be quite a breakout when that happens. That's going to be quite a breakout when that happens. That's a very nice structure, man. It looks like sometime in middle of December, you should be doing that. Okay. Yeah, your weekly RSI is reset, made it a higher low. I can't be bearish when I see charts like this. I can't. I just can't be bearish. Can't be bearish. That's not a bearish thing. When you get a wick back into the structure like that, that's a bullish thing, guys. Okay, that's a bullish thing that's happening right there. not a bearish one. Okay. Cool. The Russell made new all-time highs. It is out. The Russell is out, guys. That is our signal. That is the signal for alt season to start. Okay. The Russell 2000 is officially broken out on a weekly time frame. For all you Pulse chain people, Pulse X looks pretty good down here. Nice rounding bottom here. This thing looks like a monster, by the way. I know. This just looks like a nice, long consolidation structure, man. Like as soon as Pulse chain stuff starts to go, this is probably going to go and do something stupid. Wrap Bitcoin, for all you Wrap Bitcoin people, also holding its structure very nicely. Nice hammer candle put in there on the weekly. Got a bit of fall. We got a retest yesterday of that low, which was a little scary, but yeah, perfect retest. Long wick. Look at the long wick, right? A lot of volatility with this coin, by the way, guys. So if you can stomach volatility, then this coin's good for that. But yeah, beautiful long-term channel up structure, not broken, still within the means of it. If this is really the double bottom, then you're looking at a very nice pattern to about $6,000 Wrap Bitcoin. That's what that looks like to me. Okay. Yeah. Throw whatever else you guys want to look at. We can sit here and talk about these charts all night. I think they all look pretty good from a technical point of view. Long wicks. The follow through is what you want to really see now. The follow through off these wicks is important. Okay. FIVN. Never heard of this stock. Oh, wow, dude. We can look at gold and silver. FIVN looks interesting, dude, on the weekly. That could be a reclaim of this range, double bottom. Okay, yeah, very nice flap. Very nice. Very nice spot there, dude. Yep, weekly crossing up, weekly bullish divergence. Nice bubble risk indicator down here, making higher low. Let's go to the monthly. Okay, well, so the monthly here isn't really giving you a clear signal on momentum. 2 week isn't either, 3 week isn't either. Actually, the 3 week is rejecting bullish control zone. But if that weekly is real, this is going to power through the 2 week and the 3 week, and we'll probably flip it back up. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Watch this neckline break here at $29. Okay. That's what you really want to see break. If that breaks, then you're in business for higher prices on this asset. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, definitely worth taking a shot at it here. Okay. You know, set your stop pretty tight on something like this. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you had a one wave, you know, you got an ABC down. I got nothing really else on this. This chart looks like, yeah, it's in still a major uptrend, even though it's been drawing down. 50% retracement levels here. You know, maybe deep value if it doesn't break up here and like it fails to like break the structure and comes down one more leg. You know, maybe this range here between $5 and $8 might be something to look at later on. If this doesn't materialize into anything, then I would suspect it comes down here because there's no real support on this chart until this range here, right? Right. This is just upside action only on the monthly time frame. Okay. Oh yeah, we'll look at gold. I think gold might have hit a spot on this chart where it needs to pull back a bit. I'm not going to sit here and call the top on gold because all we've done is made a high. We haven't really necessarily made a top. What could happen is gold comes down to like 3,500, makes a higher low or the highest low it's ever made, and then pivots and rallies again. That can happen. But I suspect that it does need a bit of a pullback before it does that. Okay. And if gold's going to pull back, I'm sure silver is going to also pull back. Right? Yeah. And it may not be as steep as 3,500, but I mean, if that really was a local top for it, then could very well do that. That's where it broke out from. Okay. S&P, gapped up on Friday, and it looks like it's gunning for the next fib extension here right now. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not calling the top. I just said we could see a significant pullback. But also understand one thing about gold, okay? On the monthly time frame. All right. Yeah, we could see gold trade higher later. We could also see gold kind of retrace this whole move back to where it broke out from. It could, before then proceeding much higher. It could do something like that. All right. And the reason why I'm saying that it's possible, we don't have any real bearish divergence or anything right now happening on this chart. But what we do have is a very extended RSI. Okay. And like I said, a pullback I think is healthy to see for gold up here. Like we could just do this. We could come back down to like 60s. Okay. Make a higher low on price somewhere and then come back up, make new all-time highs on price. And then you make your bearish divergence for your next top before this thing really goes back way down. Okay. We're not doing any of that right now. So I don't think gold's topped out. It could be locally topped out and getting a pullback, right? Yeah, and here's your weekly, crossing down on the weekly here, we got some downside pressure coming in on gold right now. So let's look at the dollar index. We got upside pressure on gold. Fine, dude. Like I said, I think weekly time frame, you get a nice pullback on gold. I'm not sitting here telling you that that was the top, dude. What I am saying is that we could see a nice pullback on gold before it makes a higher low somewhere and it pivots and it rallies again. Okay? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying right now on gold. I think silver has long ways to go too, by the way. So if gold's topped out, that means silver's topped out, and I don't think that's the case on like a quarterly time frame. I don't think silver is even close to topped out. I mean, I guess it could be. I don't know. Your quarterly is up here already, but again, no real bearish divergence on silver either. Okay. Anyways, we could see some pullbacks on the metals. That's what I'm saying. All right. Platinum. Platinum also gunning for its all-time high. Massive volume spikes here on platinum. Anyways. Cool. Everything just looks hyper bullish. Okay. Stock market, everything looks crazy. Just dollar debasement incoming. You can literally throw shit at a wall and probably make money off of it because that's kind of what is going on right now. Let's talk about the dollar here for a second. Okay. Because if the dollar really does reverse here, then we could be in a bit of trouble. So we do have, and it is clear, we do have monthly RSI bullish divergence on the chart. We have it. It's there. Ever so slightly. We have, okay, stochastics on the weekly are up there already though. Okay, we'll see what happens this week with the rate cuts and stuff. If this continues to hold above the bull market support band here, which it looks like it's trying to reclaim, yeah, the dollar could push higher. The dollar could push higher. And if it ends up making a lower high, that's great. That means this is going to actually break down. Okay. But this short-term move up could really have an impact on risk assets. All right. So that's something we want to kind of pay attention to. The other thing I want to really look at is the VIX, the volatility index. And this thing got wrecked on last Friday or whatever. Yeah, I'm not really too concerned about this right now. But it's something worth paying attention to, especially for the equities market. Because if this looks bullish, there's probably going to be some big dump, okay? Or some flash dump. But I think we already kind of experienced whatever that was there with the tariffs. And, the bubble risk indicator here coming off. So I think we're going to be okay here on the VIX here for a bit. All right, for some more upside in the equities market. And this monthly candle, if that prints like that, man, that is ugly candle. That means the VIX goes way down. And we got to watch this trend line here. But if that breaks, that's going down. That's not going up. Okay. So, like I said, watch the dollar index. I think that's something we need to continue to pay attention to. And that's kind of what we really need to continue to watch is the dollar index, the Russell, the S&P, and the NASDAQ, and how they're continuing to perform. We also really do want to watch the metals like gold, because if gold continues to kind of soar like that, it could be an issue. It could be an underlying issue that's brewing. Okay. Anyways, yeah, we'll look at Kava and DOT here. Yikes. Yeah, that's pretty ugly, man. I'm sorry to say that's yeah. Jeez. It's the most wrecked it's ever been on the RSI. I don't know what's going on with Kava, but that looks pretty bad. Hopefully it catches some sort of bids and back into the structure, but for now, that looks really awful, man. Looks bad. We went to 5 cents. Yeah. If you start to see this thing get bids and close back above 30, that would be really bullish to see. But until you see something like that, I don't know, man. I really want to own this thing here. Probably not. Look at DOT. See, like even Polkadot doesn't look as bad, but that's a very long wick. That's kind of coming in there. You kind of overshot this bottom, but that's obviously kind of typical volatility stuff with crypto. But you can see that this is a much longer wick than the Kava wick. I still wouldn't say this is great. I would say if DOT came back over $4, that'd be good to see. But yeah, you could start to see it maybe trying to reverse its trend here. So that's good. DOT looks a lot better than Kava coin. Not that they look good, but from a risk to reward standpoint, Polkadot probably looks better than Kava. I don't know. Anyways, hopefully they all recover, at least to some degree. All right. What else do you guys want to look at? Some of these AI coins putting in some big candles like AI XBT. That's a big candle. Close there. Weekly bullish engulfing. Recovered that entire wick of the structure. Weekly crossing up. Bubble risk indicator not in risk of being a bubble. Probably a long-term play. Aster. The DEX. Looks like it's recovering pretty nicely. All right, so back to Bitcoin here. And we're getting a little bit of a push going into the open here, which is nice to see. Our 4-hour candles are becoming a little bit overbought here. We need to really probably reclaim 117K. That's probably a big level for it, this 118 region. Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. We got room to run on the 2-day, the 3-day, and the weekly. So we have room to run on those time frames. The 2-week is still kind of pointing down, but that weekly crossing up could push this back up. In terms of bubble risk, we're not in any risk of bubble risk here on the 2-week. We're actually just starting to tick back up. Okay. And yeah, we're in bullish control zone on the RSI. So nothing really bad about that. And even our monthly, yes, we are in overbought territory on the monthly, but Bitcoin likes to stay overbought when it goes into parabolic mania phases of the market cycle. Our quarterly here is definitely extended. It has not crossed down. We will probably get some sort of move on that in the next 2 months. And we do want to close a quarterly candle above where we're at, which is 114. We want to make sure we stay above that. Okay. I would like to see a monthly close above 116K. That'd be great. And that's basically it for Bitcoin right now. We're treading on hot water. We need to get out of this mess that we're in. And ETH is looking actually pretty good right now. Weekly momentum is ticking up here as well. This looks pretty solid. Nice weekly reset here for ETH. I suspect the next couple weeks here for ETH should be good, given the price action continues the way it's been doing here. Nice candle close here for ETH on the weekly chart. Looking pretty good. Nice little bull flag that's forming there. Nice back test, retest these support levels, holding the bull market support band on the weekly time frame. All right. I am in some live trades and some stocks too. I'm in Upstart right now. I took some trades earlier in the week around this $50 level. I posted this one in Discord. If you guys are part of that, you guys would know that. But yeah, to me, this looks like a nice channel, long-term channel that it's in. You know, we had a couple fake out dumps here that got snapped back into the structures. And the weekly here is pointing up. This is why I like this trade setup. All right, that weekly momentum is going to drive this price higher. And yeah, I think this looks good. Nice hold of support here as well, 48 level, right? Probably going to tag like $60. Probably got a nice move in it till about 60 here, $60, $61. And then we could do something like this where we come up to it, maybe come back down, retest, make a double bottom, and then maybe break and go higher later on. Something like that. Anyways, there's lots of different assets that look good right now. I mean, Dogecoin probably looks decent here. Shiba Inu probably looks decent. We spoke about Shiba. That's it. I think it's just a waiting game right now. And oh yeah, this game token broke out, man. This was a crazy trade setup that I gave at like a penny. We talked about this. This is a virtuals coin. There's like a beautiful harmonic pattern that played out that we identified. We had the beautiful M shape, and this was also a falling wedge. That's why, you know, harmonics. I'm not like the best with harmonics, but when they are identified, it's a little bit easier to see them when they're in those wedges. So the swing target right now on game is probably up to about 6-7 cents. But look at that volume on this break, on this channel break, man. Beautiful. Very, very nice. Very nice structure on this asset. Okay. Yeah, that looks extremely bullish on the weekly time frame with the cross. Very nice. And buying activity happened there. So that's what you really want to see on something like that. That is broken out. That is broken out. All right, so yeah, maybe look for a retest here, maybe some consolidation again, and then probably gunning for higher prices on this one. All right. Keep your eye on it. Cool. Anything else to really look at tonight? I'm feeling a little bit under the weather this evening. So I don't really want to stay on the screens too much tonight. Probably going to go get some rest. But appreciate all you guys continuing to tune into the streams. And, you know, stay grounded when we get these crazy fear events in the market. We're in neutral now. So if this market starts picking up and we start seeing greed come in and you're in some nice profits on some trades, don't hesitate to take those profits. Take them. You can always get back in another trade. You can always find another trade setup. There's always going to be something. Okay. And that's it. Market sentiment is very important. When the market's in fear, it's probably time to be greedy and take some risk. And when it's not, and when people are greedy, it's probably time to take profits, guys, you know, like as a rule of thumb. Okay. We're neutral right now. Market's neutral now. So it's like, if you bought the dip, great. If you didn't buy the dip and you're still holding positions, probably still okay to hold those positions, depending on where they're at, what they're doing. And that's really it for now. Okay. I got nothing else. I'm in a bunch of holding patterns on some of these pulse assets that I'm in. I'm in a couple different stock plays that I'm in right now. And that's all I'm in right now. That's all I'm doing right now. I got a position on in, I told you Upstart. I got a position on in end phase energy. We'll see how this one plays out. I think this one actually looks pretty good. It looks like it maybe made that double bottom here on the weekly. It's holding off these lows. I'm waiting for this thing to actually break above the bull market support band here. But it's a decent looking structure. The weekly RSI is what's got me wanting to be in this. All right, it's it's, you know, it's in the bearish control zone right now, but if you, and even like the monthly is really what I was looking at. It's just wrecked. Okay. Looks like it's got a lot of upside. We got a monthly clipping down here. It's very oversold. Could take some months to play out. It doesn't have to happen right away. Okay. It looks like a big bull flag though. Higher time frame. So we'll see how that plays out. That's really it. What else you guys got? Anything before I jump? Have a good night, Toe. Sleep well, bro. All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for this evening. I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully we get some follow through on some of these pins or, you know, hammer candles that have been kind of printing here on some of these cryptos, specifically virtuals. That was the one that really looked extraordinarily good. So you want to see follow through on something like that. Okay. Yeah. This is what this is a whatever descending triangle breakout. 350% measured move on a break. So that takes you to new all-time highs, probably $5-6, maybe more. You know, this is a pretty long consolidation structure here. This asset. Even had a weekly squeeze break on this since like 2024. So this could be significant. All right. Anyways, pay attention. I think if those AI coins start to rip, you should really pay attention to them. I think that'll probably catalyze a lot of these altcoins to run too. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week. Have a wonderful week and stay safe. Trade smart. Thank you guys so much.
Hey everyone, you've landed on the Swing Trade Pros website here. My name is Mr. Know-It-All. I've been an active swing trader for over 7 years. I want to welcome you guys all to the community here. My goal is to change 1 million people's lives with swing trading and trading profitably. This is a skill set you can learn here with the service. You go check out the testimonials in Discord. You can see lots of folks talking about the service and how the trade calls are super profitable. You can check Profit Gains channel. I think we've amassed around $150,000 worth of profits in the last year posted in the Profit Gains channel just from other users and traders in the community. I'd like all of you guys to check out the 14-day free trial. A coupon code will be pinned in the comment section below this video, so check it out. And we'll take you through 14-day free trial process here. You come down to the website, save 44%, and claim your 14-day free trial. Click on that. And that will take you to the Swing Trade Pros website where you can click sign up now. And after your 14-day free trial is up, on the 15th day, you will get billed, full disclosure of that. And I appreciate you guys all joining the community. It will change your lives. Give it a chance. A lot of these swing trades can take months. One of our biggest trades of the year last year was INJ. We took an entry at $1.60, and well, that asset's trading over $35 today. So that was one of the banger trades that I pointed out. My strongest pattern that I trade that I'm known for is the falling wedge. I call it the falling node wedge pattern. You know, lots of divergence on these charts, and that's what makes these patterns really play out. And you guys are going to be able to really learn that in the service, and I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys on the charts.